Hello and welcome to Four Beers In. I am Brendan.
I am Matt.
Marco.
Tammy.
All right, guys, and thank you for joining us. Beers. We are a few beers in. We happened to spend some time at Frolic, which we talked about at the last episode.
The spiritual home.
That was kind of If things don't start there, then
they end there.
It might be that way. We're also looking for other breweries if any other breweries want to jump in on this. But I had a few IPAs there, and I guess we're kicking it off at the house. And I'm New Belgium. So Voodoo Ranger is kind of like my go-to IPA. It's almost really is my go-to. Camping, just at home gaming. Like if I can't bring a Frolic brew home, my Voodoo Ranger from New Belgium is my way to go. Matt,
I think my first three beers were also the IPA, and my fourth beer is also the Voodoo Ranger from New Belgium. But if I had known we were coming to your house, I have a case of Pretzel Assassin from Denver Beer Company at home that I would have brought.
Assassin.
Pretzel Assassin is
That
a
sounds
fantastic
interesting.
beer.
It's a good one.
Marco.
I haven't had that.
So I tried to be adventurous, and I feel like I was kind of burned.
You tried to be drunk.
Yeah. So at
drank
Frolic,
before
I
buying.
had my go-to, which is the blackberry wheat, and then I saw this one at the liquor store, left-hand White Russian stout with coffee plus vanilla. Sounded
Sounds
good
interesting,
on the
yeah.
label, but in actuality, in practice, I'm not really feeling it. Alcohol content is pretty good, 8.9%.
but you're not feeling.
If that's
that
what you're
either?
looking for, it's good. Flavor wise, it's not great. It's like a watered down White Russian with Guinness poured in.
Oh, a rare
Sounds like
miss.
a weird like
'Cause I was just gonna ask,
mat shot.
A rare miss for left hand.
Which is it's not a
I was
good.
going to say, is there a way we can maybe fix this by adding a little bit of vodka?
You could
to
take
it,
away.
or-
Vodka. It sounds like a
Well,
breakfast beer.
You got to take away from a combination like that. I recently bought some flavored coffee, and I realized that in addition to not liking flavored beer, I don't like flavored coffee. So putting flavored coffee in a flavored beer sounds like my
This
version
is-
of hell.
This is where Matt and I butt heads because I'm a flavored coffee guy too.
Oh, but
I'm a plain
wait.
coffee person,
Speaking of
so-
that, though, we did partake in a Scottish shot.
That is right.
Matt provided.
that was
Because in
delicious.
addition, because you christen a boat by smashing a champagne against the side of it, I
Right.
brought, and I bought this at Edinburgh Castle in Edinburgh, Scotland, a Magnum brand Scotch whiskey, Scotch malt whiskey. God, couldn't be any smaller. Cream liqueur, which we shared
Oh, man.
before this.
And I think we all shared the same opinion. That shit was
Magic.
awesome.
Yeah, if you think
As
you
the-
like Bailey's, this is a whole new level.
Yeah.
As the guy who sold it to me said, magic.
And that's kind of what I
But he
thought
was
the
referring
flavor
to-
profile of this White Russian beer was going to be, but it's
No
it's
magic.
not. And I know Left Hand does make good beer, so Left Hand, if you're ever
Left Hand
listening, send us some stuff and we'll try it out.
Right. And I technically work for a guy who was a master brewer there back in the day.
He was at
but
Left Hand,
Left
and they
Hand,
lost him.
Avery, and Echo. Yeah, they
Fantastic
yeah.
resume.
Yeah.
He's got
Now
a
Frolic
really
has 'em,
good, and that's I think what makes Frolic kind of stand alone. But
which is a pumpkin coming your way.
yeah, oh god, that pumpkin! I'm wearing pumpkin right now. But anyway, Tam, what are you sipping on?
I feel like I'm cheating a little bit. So I hurt my knee, and so I'm trying to go without carbs until I can run again. So I am drinking some Truly strawberry lemonade.
Okay.
But it's a little sweet for me, so I have to add vodka and a little seltzer with that.
And that's how she gets extra beers in.
That's right.
I mean, 8.9% compared to that is nothing. That's
I'll make you one.
rookie numbers over here.
If Marco makes it to next week's podcast, we'll see if he makes better choices in beer.
Speaking of that, today's topic Matt chose, which if you listen to the last episode, it is puberty. So why don't you take it away, bud?
August 12th, 1990.
Oh, you have a
Fos-
date.
Fossil hunter Susan Hendrickson discovers the bones of the largest Tyrannosaurus Rex ever found. jutting from a cliff in Faith, South Dakota. 500 miles away in Arvada, Colorado, a 12-year-old me discovers a bone of his own. Now, I'd like to say that is the most pleasant part of puberty, discovering oneself. The rest was greasy hair, skin, moobs, voice cracking, stank in general. My son is going through puberty, and
That's funny.
there's a saying, you didn't hit puberty, puberty ran you over. And that happened to me. I hope it doesn't happen to my son, whose voice has dropped an entire octave in 1 week.
Oh, man.
And is also cracking. He's got a great sense of humor about it, but it is so fun. And I thought, what more fun than to comfort the youth of America by telling our own horrific puberty stories. And we are the only podcast to do this with a woman involved.
That is true.
As far as I know.
I think your stories are going to be worse, though.
I don't know. We'll see.
I
You
have
might
a
be
lot
moody,
of
but
questions.
we can hide some stuff that you can't. I'm assuming.
Bury
How do
it
you
deep
hide
down.
it? All right, we'll get to that.
'Cause nothing sticks straight out on us except for a nip, and we can get padded bras for that.
I did a little bit of research, and apparently there are stages of puberty. And what I don't like about this, it's called the Tanner stage, stage 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And what I don't like about the Tanner stages is that it makes it seem like only one thing happens to you at a time.
Which is fully false.
Tanner stage 1, now there's no physical side effects, but it's all the chemical changes in your brain. That's when you start to release things like hormones and hair growth.
And jizz.
Not yet.
Oh,
So
Now
many
stage-
bodily
that's like
fluids.
stage 3?
Stage 2 for girls is like breasts start to develop. For
I'm
boys,
jumping ahead. I'm sorry.
Which is embarrassing for a girl.
yeah.
What,
for-
boobies?
When you're first developing,
I
you
remember
develop it
8th
before your
grade.
friends.
Let's just stick to
It was-
Hide 'em a little
let's
bit.
stick to
I
stage
did.
It was
1.
very
Okay.
You
excited
wanna be the
time
first
for
one
the
in the row.
guys. It was very embarrassing time for the girls.
Okay. Yeah, stage 1.
Personally, now we'll stick to stage. Well, stage 1 is chemical, so there's nothing physical to see. That's just kind of when you start releasing hormones,
Moody.
which means you start to kind of. I guess you're getting altered, but
Is that when you get BO and then like you smell like chicken
no,
soup?
nothing physical.
Chicken
but
soup.
that is when those hormones become activated. That's when your sweat glands become bigger.
Or curry. I don't know.
Let's just jump to stage 2 because that's where physical things. For women, breasts start to bud, and for men, pubic hair starts to form.
Oh.
Now, I was
Until you
purely.
mentioned that, I forgot about my first puberty.
I have no recollection of my first pubes,
I
but
do.
I know that I hit puberty pretty hard in 7th grade because I moved house from 7th grade to 8th grade in that summer. Oh, and I was definitely going at myself in that first house. Kind of a lot. So I know that 7th grade was the beginning of puberty for me. How about Brendan?
It was earlier than that. It was
How old are we in 7th grade? 13?
We're 12.
12.
12, 13,
All right.
according to my son right now.
okay. So for me, I remember stage 2 being between 5th and 6th grade.
Pubic hair in 5th and 6th grade.
Yeah, I want to say it might have been growing into 6th grade. I kind of started noticing that it was almost like, wait a minute, hair grows there. I started having hair there before I started actually getting muscle. Like, I didn't get
Yeah,
my
muscle
first.
growth is like a stage 4.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Because I kind of remember the first. The first boner was
You
pretty
just
like.
remind me of Project.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
remember-
right. Oh my god, I got my first boner. Like I do remember that, and it was kind of towards, if I remember right, it was towards the end of 6th grade because I hadn't quite gone to Huron yet, which was junior high. At Cotton Creek, 6th grade was the end of elementary, and I remember thinking, "Oh my god, I'm getting pubic hair." Like it, and the thing is my dad didn't talk to me about any of this shit.
I should mention my dad died when I was 7. No one talked to me about shit. I had health class in 7th grade, which basically taught me not to be homophobic.
Right.
Not a whole lot else.
Yeah,
I
and
don't
kind
know
of
what's worse, not to be talked to or the embarrassment to be talked to.
And that's kind of what brought me to this is because my son
'Cause I
is going
was,
through this.
and I didn't enjoy
I
it.
told him no matter what. I guarantee I've been through it and worse. And I got him a book to read too. For anything he's too embarrassed to talk to me about, he's got a book for it. But I wanted to do this because I think, we're not generally kid friendly.
Related, unrelated. The only thing I remember
Everyone
from health
experiences
class
it.
was those sexy illustrations.
I don't even remember that. I don't
You
even
don't
remember that.
remember like the penis going into the vagina with the ovaries?
That's what I'm
and
saying.
shit?
That's the
Like,
only thing I remember from health class. None of the lessons, just the sexy
It was all
illustrations.
internal. I don't
Yeah.
remember any external photographs.
No, there
Yeah, I
was not
remember that
external.
either.
Do you know what I remember? The movie Look Who's Talking.
Oh,
With the entire
That's
intro was the sperm
awesome.
swimming to the egg.
Oh man, talk about a good like segue from the last podcast
That's
to this
actually
one.
sex, though. That's not.
That's, again, internal fertilization
Right.
of an egg, which
That's true.
puberty, I should say, it comes from the Latin pubertas, which means adulthood, and it is the sexual awakening. It is the transition of a person from child to adult.
Awakening is a good word.
And it means that you are now sexually a viable human being, or you're becoming one.
Right.
Which
So
is scary, like back in the day.
sperm and egg thing is germane to the topic. But as far as stage 1 goes, Tammy, breast development. Tell us.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, this is a generation thing because I think nowadays people can't wait to get titties and the short skirts and show themselves.
You
Back-
think they feel that way?
I don't know. I see how young kids.
I mean,
dress
granted, my
now,
daughter's
and they
20
like to show
almost,
their
so-
stuff. But yeah, even
I
when
sort
she
of-
was younger, she couldn't
Oh.
wait to get in a bra, and she couldn't wait to do.
And I
those
wanted
things.
to embarrass
When
her by
I
buying
grew
her her
up-
first bra, and that didn't happen.
Yeah, when I grew up, it was more embarrassing. We didn't have sexy bras, and I was just I was horrified because I developed early, and
So
so
is
I was
that
one
why
of the
you
few
don't wear
friends that
sexy
had a
bras
bra
now?
early, and like I would get snapped and like.
Oh, really?
Oh, totally. Guys might have liked it, but it was like
Did guys snap or did girls?
it was more girls.
Bitches.
I know.
Bitches.
I know.
You shouldn't
But
tell
I'm talking.
8th
I
grade
mean, we're
us
talking. I mean,
about these
I think
stories.
it's a generation thing and whatnot. But I think nowadays girls can't wait to get older. Not that we all don't want to, but I developed before some of my friends, and I was shy back then. So I didn't want to have the big titties.
Did you have like the gym class where you had to
Oh,
strip
horrible!
naked and all that?
And they would make you shower.
it was optional for me. I
Oh,
never,
they made you,
I
and they would have
never
a
showered.
girl waiting for you, and they would make sure, like, to check a little board to make you shower.
Wait, they had like a teacher or a teacher
No.
assistant?
The teacher.
It's like
it
a
was-
hall
no,
monitor.
Or, wait,
I think.
you had.
A student would be picked,
Like
What?
a towel
and they
boy.
would wait, and then you have to show that you actually showered.
Oh,
my God.
Oh, man.
Sounds
As a
very-
guy, I'm like, I'll take that job.
I was a little bit of a smartass. I got kicked out.
Hey, the movie
Out of gym
Ladybugs
a
would have
couple
been much
times.
more interesting if that.
That's twice
Kid who-
that movie's come up.
Yeah, if the kid who dressed as a girl to play soccer
Jonathan
dressed as
Brandis.
a girl to be
Yes.
a towel girl,
Yeah.
that would have been
But
much more
the
interesting.
thing that was more horrifying back then is if when girls started getting their periods back then.
Wait a minute,
they
that
had
stage.
all right.
I don't know.
We would
Go
have
ahead.
special showers, and so that's even worse
It's
because
all
then
pipes.
you almost
It's all pipes.
it is, but then you almost like you don't want people to know you have it, especially not your friends, and then you're in the special shower, so they're already like they know I'm in the special.
It's the
shower.
COVID
What was so,
shower?
what was so special about it? Was it partitioned
It was
off?
a single shower, so you'd have your own curtain versus you'd share a shower.
Okay.
So you didn't get to bleed in front of everyone apparently.
Wow.
It was horrible.
New York public schools.
We're talking 30 years ago. I mean, things probably have changed since then.
Guys
I
had
hope.
no knowledge of that.
yeah,
They just
you're
No,
like
not one
roast
bit.
roast girls for their attitude and be like, you're on your period, you have PMS. They had no idea.
We all go.
It's just a
through
way
the
of roasting
mental-
girls.
Guys have their period too. They just don't
Yeah.
bleed.
There
So
is
we
a guy
all cycle.
period.
I truly believe. But the girls have the horrifying.
How many fights
of,
did you
like,
get into?
worrying about they bleeding through? Am I
Couple.
like can't wear white in certain times of the month? And,
I've noticed my guy period more as like an adult.
I'm a little late in mentioning this, but going back to the breast development, I read a funny thing. I read a funny thing that says girls develop breasts around age 11, men around age 40.
That's
funny.
awesome.
Oh, I wish it was mine. Marco, you're a lot younger than us. What year was it when you discovered?
Do you know what
You
year
were
it was?
transitioning.
I feel like I was a late bloomer.
A late
'Cause I feel like remembering all this shit was
Not too long
freshman
ago.
year. Well, I'm going through like second puberty right now with the breast development and like starting
Happy
to fill
40th
in.
birthday.
I just started getting pubes.
Starting to fill in facial hair. Maybe some days I can grow a little bit of a beard that some guys could grow
But
when
you
they're
see-
15.
You see, I have
But you come from like what I would say Asian Pacific
yeah.
descent. Like they don't. You
Yeah,
don't see
it's a
a
very
whole lot
weird
of massive
culture.
beard.
Bearded
Like
guys?
I'm more Irish, Viking. Like it,
But you
it
have
comes a
spots,
little
too.
bit. Oh yeah, I do, and it curls up like a leprechaun. But
But Asians can grow a big old bush.
So I was
that,
gonna
Yeah.
go there.
that was actually
Style.
going to be a question of mine. Was like if hair doesn't grow here, and
That's like the first thing you notice. And like for me, it was like, I have hair nowhere else, so I guess I need to like shave here, maybe. So that's where the
I just wanna buy
manscaping
razors.
started.
all right. Well, I started noticing, and then down there, it was
Down
definitely.
It
right
just
around
felt
sixth grade.
unnatural to me because I
So-
had hair nowhere else.
Right.
So it was
Didn't
like,
balance.
At what
What about
grade?
your armpits?
I feel like armpits was later too.
Well, what grade? Like, give us a grade timeline.
Well, I was also weirdly homeschooled right when everyone was hitting puberty in 7th grade.
All
And-
homeschooling is
and
weird.
my
You don't have
dad
to
was
qualify that.
on top of homeschooling us, he was totally that dad that didn't tell us any of this. He was just like, "Yep, just not talk about any of this."
It's so funny.
So
because
I
it's
came
so
back in 8th
uncomfortable.
grade and like all the girls had already developed. Like I skipped basically from 6th to 8th grade. I'm like, what is going on here? All the girls look different. They act different.
Bitches.
So that was also part of my experience, and everyone already had the health class, and I had nothing.
Health class only.
And here I'm
only
bitching that
showed
my
so
dad
much,
didn't
though.
talk.
I didn't even have the sexy illustrations until like freshman year
There
of high
was
school.
Nothing sexy about my
Yeah,
illustrations.
mine either.
But I was gonna
yeah,
jump off the
illustrations were not.
I was going to jump on the same thing Brendan touched on is because I have a beard and my son is half Asian and he asked me when he's going to get a beard now.
And you tell him to check
Check there
down there.
first. It's below the pant line, son.
See, I told him that frankly I couldn't grow a mustache till I was in my mid to late 20s.
My brother
I
was
could
like
grow
that.
the chin beard. I couldn't grow anything else until my mid to late 20s. And I said it's different for everyone, but for
Yep.
Asians it might be
longer.
even later, or maybe you won't be able to grow a full beard at all. Which is fine for him. He's
Yeah, if I'm your
way-
measuring stick, I can only grow the chin beard right now. So
Yeah.
probably
And
has another
that's what I
15,
had.
20 years. Probably till he's your age is when
Yeah.
this can start coming in.
And I had a chin beard until I was 28, maybe, until I could grow the mustache, and then I grew the mustache. It was frustrating as hell.
Well, and
Because my dad was all mustache, and I was like, where's the genetics?
when you're like maybe a year or so in real life, like age-wise, ahead of me, but I deal with not having certain connections between the mustache and the goatee. You pull it off better than I do.
I shaved that connection because what I have is not a goatee. It's actually called a balbo. Which
Oh,
is
there's
better.
an actual term for that.
Yes, the beard I have that I sport, the fashion I have my choice, is called a balbo, made famous by Robert Downey Jr. in Sherlock Holmes.
Yes,
I
yes.
love him.
But it's only because I find that goatees don't look good ever. So it's like when I did shave the connection, and before I did that, I had the goatee, but I also kept,
That's
The
my struggle.
jawline.
Yeah.
but I don't have the sideburn connection. And so when I shaved the connection, my son would laugh at me endlessly for having a mustache. He's like, "You have a mustache." I'm like, don't just have a mustache. If you want to see comedy, yeah, I can shave just down to a mustache.
Yeah, I don't know
Disgusting.
what it is. I love
It is
face hair, but just the
disgusting looking.
Well,
It's not even bad. It is disgusting.
I
I,
mean-
will get police called on me.
right? Well, you guys remember my Rolly Fingers mustache a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And that's what happens if I let this go trying to connect. It'll start curling up. And
Yeah.
and weirdly, it didn't start happening until late 30s which I don't know. I mean, Marco talked about his second puberty. I mean, maybe that was mine too, or is mine, because there's still parts of me that is just now starting to grow hair, and I'm in my 40s. Granted, it's coming out white, but
Oh,
my
my
brother
chest
grew
hair.
hair late
oh,
too.
right, that's what
My
I'm
chest
talking
hair
about,
started
man.
turning white.
What?
Like this year.
Really?
Yes.
Oh shit.
I'm starting to get white chest hair now that I'm 42.
Yeah.
Have you
Speaking of
noticed
the
any white
Asian,
pubes
I
yet?
literally have no
That's what I'm
chest
afraid
hair.
of.
None
Who will
whatsoever.
see it besides
You.
me?
But if you notice a white pube before I do, then I'm gonna be like, what?
She spends a lot of time down there, apparently.
I kind of
by her own
almost hope that
admission.
happens, but you know what I mean. Moving forward a little
That's what those
bit.
sounds are in the background.
At what stage is the first boner? Because we
Oh
we
my
did kind
God.
of like talk.
They don't
about
expressly say first boner, but like I said, I was going at myself in 7th grade.
that. Uh huh.
Now, there was no ejaculate at that point,
Oh,
and y'all have to think real hard about that.
I'm thinking.
You would
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
orgasm and nothing would come out for the first maybe 2 years. I don't even know if that's true. But in my first childhood home, between 7th and 8th grade, I moved. So I have clear chapters
like
in my head.
visual memories that
I know where I masturbated in my first house, and I know when I masturbated in my first house. And I also know that there was no ejaculate. I also know what I used to masturbate in my first house versus my second house and third house,
I
which
fucked
got
a
a lot
couch.
more sloppy. And I can't remember the first
Rick
boner I
James.
got, and I can't remember the first ejaculate I got. I remember probably, well, now I got to clean up. This is getting worse. So I know that the boners came as early as 12, possibly even 11. I don't even know. For some reason, try as I might, I cannot remember specifics. I just know it was in that first house.
I feel better that you can't remember the specifics because neither can I. I can
I
remember
feel like I
certain
can remember because
situations.
class was really awkward.
Oh,
That's
You
what
get
I
that
want to
awkward-
ask.
The
You see it in
unwanted-
You get
movies.
that
Is it
the
awkward-
true?
unwanted boner.
The
Well,
uncontrolled,
that's,
unwanted
I wanna know,
boners.
is it
yes.
true? Like you're in
Yes,
class and then
it'll
you're
happen.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll
And you
happen.
cannot, you know, when the bell rings and certain guys will not stand
like,
up
I'm just
immediately,
gonna chill here.
it's because
Or you
they
have to
can't
tuck
stand
it
out.
up immediately.
And you have to do it as discreet as possible.
Yeah.
So
they
there's no
actually,
trigger. It just happens.
I think in health class, I think the teacher actually mentioned carrying your trapper keeper in front of your crotch
That's funny.
between classes. I think he said that's a good way to disguise what's.
I
You
remember
cannot
that.
control this.
That's
it is
a good
gonna
teacher
happen.
to know that, like, hey, look, I'm teaching kids about boners, so
You know, there's a lot of hero talk with teachers, and they're not all heroes. And I'll be the first to say it, but Mr. Finch, 7th grade health class, was a fucking hero. Because who wants that job?
right?
He had to teach nothing, and there was so much shit he had to deal with 7th graders and sex ed and anti-gay. Like he had I think he was gay. It wasn't obvious, but he might have been.
Oh, I had a science teacher.
There
that I now
were
realize,
students in 1991 that were homophobic and
probably
anti-gay.
most of them.
Yeah, in the time and of the age we were.
Yeah,
Not me, thank God. I was always enlightened, coming from a liberal family. There were some horrible kids in my class, and he dealt with them very, very, very well. And the poor guy probably was gay himself, now that I think more about it.
man. See, that's I look back.
And he's like, just don't grow up to oppress me. God damn it, because I've been dealing with this shit my whole life. I think he's a hero for taking on that job. Mr. Finch, more middle school. Fucking God bless you. Wherever he is now.
It was definitely in middle school that I remember watching the films, which were bad. I couldn't tell you who the teacher was. I want to say it was the same guy as our shop teacher, and maybe that's where the name
Oh,
Knudsen.
that's way different. Having a shop teacher teaching health
yeah.
versus
They're working on wood.
my teacher.
Right?
Yeah,
It
but
works.
that's like
It works the same way. The human body
This is stiff.
just
You're stiff. Let's
have
talk
a
about
socket.
that's like those old videos where your drill sergeant taught you about it. It's like no, I had a dedicated health teacher,
I
and he
remember
was a very sensitive type of guy, and he was very thoughtful.
There was one class, and the only reason I remembered it's just one class, and I remember that like it was almost kind of like the beginning of Look Who's Talking, but it was more kind of educational, as I put up finger quotes that nobody can see, but it was showing like this illustration of a penis entering a vagina. And the
I would have
sperm-
used that for years mentally. That would have been in the spank bank for years if
and
I had seen that.
I think that it
I didn't know
definitely
what I
was
was
for
supposed
some
to do.
people, because when that video ended, ironically, it happened probably less. I shit you not. Probably it ended within 15 seconds of the class bell ringing. Like the teacher hadn't even had time to get up yet to turn off the
projector's
the
flapping
projector.
around. Thwap,
And-
thwap, 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 thwap,
And I
thwap, thwap,
swear I felt like I was one of the last 3 kids to get up and leave.
because of the boner.
Thank you. Everyone else left because it was just uncomfortable as shit, or God knows what. They couldn't get out fast enough. Whereas I was kind of like, oh, fuck. I really do kind of think that looking
Mr.
back,
Wyatt, you forgot your trapper keeper.
I
Mr.
kinda-
Wyatt, didn't anyone tell you it's rude to point?
I feel like I progressed a little bit faster than some of my friends. And I do remember having conversations with guys, because in junior high, it was different than it was for me with elementary. Like I had my first girlfriend in 5th grade. And I say girlfriend because this was kind of like, a hand holding. You might like peck each other on the lips or whatever.
Aw, a real Norman Rockwell
But-
situation.
Moving to Huron when we had junior high, I had the same girlfriend all through junior high. And the one thing that I think both she and I looked forward to, and I'm sorry, Tam, but it was the end of the day, because for 10 minutes we could make out in the hallway while she waited for her ride. And making out was like, it was the closest thing to sex for me.
Well, as far as you knew, it was sex. I mean,
Th-
I didn't know what
that's
to
just
do.
it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
I had a Sears catalog, and I don't
And-
know why I was doing what I was doing to these women, but there it was.
Like, that's some pretty underwear.
well, and that stage kind of started happening towards the end of 7th grade, beginning of 8th grade, where the Sears catalog kind of came in, or every once in a while, our neighbors the cable box was in our yard, but they knew how to illegally hack the cable box, and when they did it, it worked for our house too. And
That's called communism, children.
right? And one of the kids, there was a kid that lived in that house that was like 2 years older than me. So I was in 7th grade. So he was just going into high school. Either way, gave us the coaxial cable so I could run that, all the way to, and I could see what they were watching. Like we couldn't change the channel. Like that's
It was like
how,
the 70s show.
exactly. That's how old this shit worked. So when it would get to like the porn bit, oh shit, everything in like just stopped.
So this is
Because-
why I had to pause
And
16
that was-
candles,
Right?
because I didn't have illegal
But
porn.
this was
illegal
my
cable.
education, because my dad didn't like talk to me about this stuff. And in fact, my dad's junk was the first other junk that I ever seen other side my own. And I had 2 brothers. But it was just kind of like, he didn't ever really talk about things. And then my mom, she would try to, but she was just awkward. And she calls condoms condoms. And,
From
and,
the French.
As in,
Condom.
I don't condone your use of condoms.
and she like enunciates it like condom, and even now, like you could try to have. I almost encourage you to like
sometimes
give
I'll
her.
just get random advice from my mom that comes out of nowhere.
Oh my
It's like
God.
that foreign parent advice. No context whatsoever. It'll just be like passing by her in the kitchen and be like, "You need to wear a condom, Marco." I'm like, where is this coming from? Okay, noted. Been doing that. I'm just trying to get a cup of coffee.
Morning, Mom.
Do you see my morning wood?
You've been thinking about this
Have
for
you
how
looked at my
long?
search history?
Oh my God.
That's awesome.
My mom
And
never
we didn't
said.
have porn on the internet back then.
No,
either.
we had no internet.
So I think we're like you. We didn't have cable.
No,
didn't
well,
have
I had
internet.
cable. I had,
didn't.
like I said, I had the midnight HBO, Showtime, whatever. Well, we
Right.
had HBO. I don't know if we had Showtime. I don't think we had Skinamax.
That's
Maybe
another
we
layer
did.
of you guys being
Yeah.
early bloomers and me being a late bloomer.
I was
We didn't have this
such-
till freshman year of college, and there's just randomly Skinamax on there because DU forgot to like cancel that part
Oh,
of
that's
like
so
the basic
awesome.
cable.
I don't think we actually started like we had at back in the day. I'm talking about Tammy and I, and in our history, one of our clients, she made a lot of money, and she had to spend it. So she would pay for the Playboy channel. She would get Playboy magazine subscription. Like she would.
I don't think she played for the Playboy, but we understood she enjoyed
She
women.
she did, and
but
Totally
that's not
fine.
puberty. We're
No.
talking.
But
she was an older, lovely
Well,
woman.
sexual awakening. Oh,
Yeah.
and she was an older. Yeah,
that-
she'd
she
already
was. I mean, she
established.
was in her 60s, and like there was multiple times that I'd go in, like after putting her on the potty, I'd go in there and be like, "How you doing?" And she's just
All right. Well,
going at herself.
doing her own thing, and
She's pulling a mat, as they
Yeah.
say around my house.
um,
She's matting off. I'm trying to make that a thing.
because of her, we had
I'm taking it from
Right.
Jack.
Because
Sorry,
of
Jack,
her-
your time's up.
right. We had every channel possible, and it wasn't until then that occasionally we would flip through the channels, and we understood why they called Cinemax Skinemax. Because after like
Pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
right, but if you haven't, there's some people that may or
Well,
may not.
I don't
be
know if
listening
Cinemax
that,
is
like-
even a thing anymore.
I don't think so.
Well,
There's so much out there now.
but it was after like 1:00 in the morning. All of a sudden, the softcore porn would show up.
Oh yeah, around midnight.
Yeah.
I didn't like growing up. That didn't Skinemax. It didn't make sense to me. Only, 10 years ago, when we had that channel as adults, I remember looking at her going, "Oh, I fucking get it, Skinemax." I never got the joke before then, but maybe it's because I didn't have the channel, or I did, or I didn't. I don't know. Back when they were like illegally stealing cable from my neighbors, but I had no control over what channel was what. I just boobies were boobies.
Oh my god, I loved boobies as long as I can remember. As far as Marco goes, talking about early bloomer, I can remember my first crush before I can remember my first anything. She lived down the street. Her name was Jill. And I mean, I had a crush in every grade from first grade all the way through college, my entire life, marriage and beyond. And I was just always kind of like a girl crazy kid. And yet I had no confidence to actually talk to girls.
I'm with you, dude.
Yeah. So it's like, as far as being an early bloomer, I think there's early bloomer and then there's like almost borderline deviant,
Eh?
which if I had any confidence, I would have been that deviant. But thank God I wasn't because I was so afraid of girls. But I remember Jill and Jamie and Sarah and Angela and fucking Shannon and everybody all the way through high school. Andrea, still. It's like,
Do you ever curious what they look like now?
I looked, well, we mentioned last, I don't know if it was on mic or off, but I mentioned
Right.
you last time, Lori, I won't say her last name, Lori B. I actually did look her up on Facebook and
Better as a kid, huh?
Didn't
Reverse
age
puberty.
well.
you know, she seems happy. I'll just say that.
Well, it's funny you said that. I had this huge crush from like freshman to senior year. I was obsessed with this guy. Never really looked him up. And then I went into Facebook recently and it was like, you might know. And I'm like, oh my God.
Because you
now I
talked
know what
about
he
him in
looks
front of a
like.
telephone. Yes. And now Tim Cook knows
Yeah.
who
Not
all your
bad.
crushes were. Marco, when was your first crush?
My first crush.
He's happy.
So this one's kind of awkward because I've been like kind of hooking up with this girl.
Oh wait, she's still involved. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Do you still think of her as a 13-year-old?
Is that why your mom told you where to condom?
Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, a couple from 6th grade.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
Wow. 6th grade for me was Lauren.
I just remember Secret Santa back then, and my mom made me buy her like girly gifts,
Uh-huh.
like
Like pink unicorns and shit.
against my better judgment. Because you're a 6th grader, you're like, oh yeah, Pokemon cards. Bang bang. There you go.
Okay, I was a sixth grader with
And my
garbage
mom is
pail
like,
kids.
no, you have to get something nice like a candle or flowers. Like if you're a sixth grader, like really? It's like, yeah, just like Pokemon cards, stuffed animals, whatever, video games,
Yeah.
Polly Pockets. I don't know, something that's not a romantic gift like flowers and candles. Like what?
I
am
think it's
so-
sweet that she helps, though.
Yes, it's nice how your mom is all up in your
Yeah,
business. I would.
So, anyways, I guess she kind of wingman me like
Wingman
20
you.
years later. It's
Hey,
like
can
this,
your mom wingman for me? Because I got a little, got a little situation.
That's funny.
Just a little.
I am endlessly curious about hooking up recently with your sixth grade crush because
None of us have done that.
no.
That's true. I haven't.
Oh no. And how does that work? Did you know her the entire time between sixth grade and now?
yeah, we just like keep in
My
touch.
dog
with
is eating his
Facebook
own
and
ass.
So
stuff.
you've kind of kept up with
Yeah.
her growing up and becoming an adult?
Yeah, I mean, just keep in touch with people, I guess, and
Okay.
shoot your shot where you can shoot it as a single guy.
Right. I think it's different for me because I can remember my first crush actually came at summer camp.
Oh,
I
camp.
never did summer camp as a kid.
So, and then I was so shy, and I picked this girl out of like 100 and plus. And I wish I could remember the kid I was bunking with because he totally helped it out here. And he got the conversation happening, and at the end of camp, there was a dance, because that's how kids be back in the
Gotta
90s.
do a full arm length
No.
away between
Yeah.
you.
The definition of dance for me as a kid was I'm going to be up against this wall
Me
while you're
too.
up against that wall.
Yeah.
Me too. It was for me too. But
Uh-huh.
this kid knew that I had been crushing on this girl for like 3 days. And
3 days.
Well, this was a week-long summer camp, and I picked her out probably somewhere in the middle. Actually, now that I'm talking about it, I remember there was a camp photo where midway through the whole camp, they bring out all the kids for that week. We all wear Camp Chief Your Ray
And
shirts.
you had to stand next to her.
Her cabin was the cabin next to ours. It wasn't co-ed. So it was kind of like boy, girl,
To be
blah,
as
blah, blah,
close
blah,
as
blah.
possible. And you're like
And-
counting out
and-
the boy, girl.
and-
And you're like, I have to stand
She
here
had,
so
like-
I can stand next to her.
Well, it was
I
kinda-
remember that.
And she had pink under, like, she had worn a pink T-shirt under her camp shirt and rolled up the sleeves, so there was the pink around the cuffs, which made it easier for me to point her out. And then all I could do was talk about her to everyone that was in my cabin. And so when time came and the dance came, I was shy. She's over there sitting there kind of doing the same thing, like at the, back against the wall kind of stuff. And this kid was like, fuck this shit. I'm tired of it. Like, he was actually the kind of dude that I kind of wanted to be, because he approached actually her friend and was like, yo, let's dance. And by the way, your friend and my friend, they need to talk. And once the conversation happened, yeah, we had a nice little dance or whatever, but we were really able to like exchange phone numbers, conversations. She played soccer. We thought we lived closer than we did, and then when we got home, she lived in Littleton, I lived in Westminster, but we thought the soccer stop that was both at the mall, which was North Glen Mall for us, South Glen Mall for her, shows the difference.
North and South are different,
Yes.
especially in Denver. If you're not from here, there's no fucking highway between Littleton and
The
Westminster.
thing is
it's a 45, 50-minute drive.
this girl haunted me all the way through high school too. Like, this happened in
Pre-social media. How does she do that?
it was because she intimidated me because she was smart, she was beautiful. Like, there were all these intangibles that intimidated me, and I couldn't, like, I'll just, like, the hand holding. That's all I ever did. But it was vigorous hand holding that, like,
What's vigorous hand?
Vigorous hand.
yeah, like, it was like enough to give a dude a boner when he's 14. You know
Pretty
what I mean?
much. Yeah, my hands were just pure
Sweaty as
water. Yes.
Fuck. Yes, and it really kind of like
Was it Predator where they did that handshake? That's vigorous hand holding.
So-
Arnold.
what was fucked up is like this was like junior high because I was 13, 14 or whatnot, and we both went to high school, and life does things, you know. And when we realized we were further apart and neither one of us could drive, so. And this was back in the day where some people may not understand this, but we actually wrote letters to each other. You know,
Print or cursive?
I remember
both,
the fortune
a little
tellers.
bit depends on like
Did
how
you guys have
how
those?
lazy. Yeah. But we had to put stamps on this shit.
They
You
were
know what
like
I mean?
you fold a piece of paper into the fortune
Oh, I used
teller,
to love
and
that.
then
We
it
used to call
has the
those
note
cooties.
inside.
Pick a number.
Yeah,
Which
right,
fa-
right,
what color?
yes.
We call them cooties, but I don't know what their
Cooties.
actual
Right.
name
Or
is now.
sometimes the foldable footballs were disguised as love notes.
Well, as we got older, some douchebag in her high school decided like she must have still had been crushing on me more than I knew at the time. But in order for some kid to like get her to get past me, they told her that I died.
What?
How'd you die?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Hit by a
But
train. I'm making it up now.
We stopped contact for
That's
pretty
also
much
kind of
like
laughable, and how kids are such villains.
fucked up, right? Exactly. So this was like going into high school. So this, you know, we were about 8th grade ish going into high school. I contacted her because I will, you know, we pen palled, we wrote, so I would never forget the address. And finally, I found the number, but it wasn't like we're skipping freshman year, sophomore year. It might have been junior/senior year that I contacted her and found out that some douchebag in her school told her that I died or whatever. And I'll never forget like hanging out at the IHOP. And I finally got to see this girl. We're like semi-adults now. We have driver's license. We can see each other more. Screw the 40-minute drive between here and there. And again, all I remember is the damn hand holding under the table at IHOP. It never
Vigorous.
went like, yeah, it never went any further than that. But there was always part of me that wishes and wanted and
You never
Life's-
forget the first whatever. You
life
forget
never
your first
did
kiss.
what it could for me because I felt like I was never good enough for her. And that was part of maybe my own situation in growing up and knowing myself, because I didn't know who I was until I was probably 25, 26. And now we're talking about at 17. It was probably better for her in her life that things didn't happen the way I wanted to, because I probably would have fucked it up. That's just me. But I look back at this now, like,
condom.
And you never remember, I think it's awesome. You never forget your first vigorous hand holding.
Yeah, you know what, Brendan? I appreciate.
Or first kiss, or
I
first
appreciate-
whatever. You always remember that.
Yeah, I appreciate that story, Brendan. But since you said summer camp, all I can think of is fingering Haley Mills. I would
would've
pick
been
the
nice.
I would pick the Sharon over the Susan. I don't know
I
about
went to
you.
Christian camp.
I think I probably
How bad
was-
is that?
I don't know. Tell me how
Yeah,
bad is
Tan
Christian
and I are
camp?
the late bloomers. I went to Catholic school, so
Yeah.
the teacher that Matt's talking about is like Mike Pence for me. And
They
Mr.
were just
Finch?
as dirty, though.
The
They were
closet-
just as dirty.
The closet gay guy who's pretends
man.
like he's not gay.
Mr. Finch was not
and,
closeted.
and tells everyone
He's a
that
wonderful man.
sex is wrong.
Oh, so this camp, I mean, it was actually kind of weirdly fun because I love horseback riding and that kind of
Yes,
stuff.
girls do masturbate on horses. I've
Hey,
heard that.
you could go bareback is better. I mean, I don't know.
On horses,
Camp,
too.
Like, it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun activity.
That's the title
but you
of this
did go to
episode.
church and
Bareback
stuff.
is better.
But they were just as dirty. You went in the woods and met up with guys and girls. You know, like they But I always had weirdly crushes on the counselors, which didn't go very.
You
far.
know what? I'm the same in strip clubs.
I didn't want
where-
the kids. I
in-
wanted the counselor.
Wait,
and I'm
you
When
like,
I
wanted
was-
like
don't
the
want me?
waitress and
when
not
I
the
was
stripper?
younger, the strippers would bore me, and I wanted the waitresses because
I
you couldn't
called it.
see them.
It goes
Yes.
for the bouncer, the guy that's
You know-
standing outside.
You know, the guy would never show you anything, but the waitresses were the forbidden fruit. The dancers were just giving
That's
it away
funny.
for free.
I didn't crush on any
It's
counselors.
mental,
I
I
wanted
tell ya.
There's two of them I wanted.
You don't. You want them because you can't have them.
Maybe.
It's mental. Same strip club waitress. Fantasy.
Well-
Yep.
Same thing.
I think for me, I could never have my babysitter or babysitters because my dad.
My
he
brother
worked
was
at-
my babysitter.
So well,
I had him.
how does he feel now?
Shame.
Yeah, that's how my brother does too.
I'm gonna spit that out.
My dad worked at a high school, or actually at the high school I ended up going to. But
Worked at,
what
hung out at.
what he would do
same
was
thing.
he was a counselor, and he would bring in the girls. Of course, they were all girls that he could trust or know or whatever to be our babysitter. And I was the one that every single time, and my dad would rotate the girls from time to time. And one of them is now a principal at a junior high or a high school. It still talks about me. But it was because she was like, he's going to be a looker and he's going to be trouble. She nailed it. Well, maybe the trouble part. I don't know about the looker bit. But
Tammy, you want to weigh in on this? I'm not seeing it.
I mean, but it was.
She's like, yes.
We tied her up
Yeah,
once
very
at one
much so.
point. Like,
You tied her up.
yeah, we
You and who?
my brothers,
How many brothers?
2.
Okay, 3 on 1.
But she let it happen.
Is it like a hog tie tied to a chair? What are we talking about? Train tracks?
She let it happen.
I don't
Yeah.
fully remember. It's a story that my parents tell better.
How
than
old
I
were you
remember.
at this point?
I would think 13,
Okay.
because I'm
You
the
should
oldest of the.
You should remember 13 years old.
Honestly, some of that time for me, and when you even first brought up this idea, I was a little nervous because I don't remember a lot.
I don't either, and I think that's probably
Like,
like
I
a
remember-
mental survival thing.
Well, and we talked about a few things. Like for me, I didn't really like when it came to masturbation. It wasn't like I was like hand doing it or whatever.
so much wasted time, man.
I
Let me tell you
I
what you
fucked a
missed out on.
couch. Like there was we had these styrofoam couches, and for some reason it was just a lot easier to like stick my shit in between the two sections, and
Oh shit! I never thought of that.
I picture watermelon.
that was kind
Yeah, too
of
much evidence to dispose of. I never found a substitute for my hand that was any worth the trouble. Really,
I did. It was the couch.
really,
Yeah.
better than your hand.
Yeah, because it wasn't my hand.
I got a couch at home.
But the
It's
thing
a
was,
virgin res of
thing
recording.
was-
Well, they
is
say
I could-
well nowadays you sit on your hand, numb it, and then it
That's
doesn't.
the
yeah, like the
stranger.
stranger.
Right.
Yeah. Gone
I
in
haven't done
60
that either. I
seconds.
need the control.
Yeah, you just get a pocket pussy.
Well, I don't know. It seems like a lot of work. It's like
That's how
Only
I felt
after,
about
to
the
clean up.
hand. And the thing about the couch is at least I kind of had the motion like I was laying on a girl.
So what happened to the couch? What's she doing now?
My parents still use it.
Still in the rumpus room.
She's not wrong.
Oh,
You
do
guys
I sit on
Facebook
it?
friends
At
still?
Christmas?
No, I
Do you call her Cheryl?
unless that was
I
another
sit
girl
on
in
his
high
girlfriend.
What's it like to hook up with the couch all these years later?
school. If I remember right, unless they threw it away, it's still in the
Unless- wait.
basement, which
They'll
is
throw it
where
away
my brother
after.
lives.
You're like Brett's fucking it now.
I mean,
Took the words right out of my mouth.
so it's
brother.
not all that different from a lot
I
of
think
Facebook
your parents are
going
going
to
to throw it away now.
I'm gonna.
They
I'm
don't
gonna
listen
play
to
him
this
this
shit.
episode. Oh yeah, they're gonna
I
hear
couldn't
this.
get them to listen to the Rapids podcast.
Next
You
time
think
I
they're
see
gonna
your
listen to-
parents, I might
But
I
don't
might
listen to
just
the
tell
whole
them
thing,
about
just
that.
this
Ask them
part.
about the
Yeah.
styrofoam couches.
Skip to 25 minutes. But that does remind me of in Train Spotting, the novel, but not the movie.
Train spotting.
Oh, I was gonna say I saw the movie, but
I'm a huge fan. One of these days, Irvin Welsh is going
I-
to come up,
yes,
and you're all going to have to watch everything he's ever made into
I
a
want to
movie.
read the damn book.
But in the book, not the movie, it was cut out. But Begbie actually dug a hole in the ground and fucked the earth. That was his thing. So, yeah, that would happen like during gym class in school in Train Spotting, and that just reminded me of that. I've never tried anything like that. Again, I've never found a substitute other than a real woman.
Right. Well, nothing.
It's either
compares to
hand or
that.
hand with lotion.
Even the
Or
lotion
someone
just
else's
kind of
hand.
well.
No, because then you're with hopefully somebody
Yeah,
else at
yeah.
that point.
If you're with somebody else and it's confined just to the hand, you got to question your life choices. But if you're alone, the hand is the ultimate. I mean, I've never found better.
It's probably more. I mean, obviously outside of puberty, but I think they make more toys, or maybe because I'm a woman, I look for more toys. for
Women have more toys
but
available
I think
to
women
them.
get more.
They try to get men to shove things up their ass a lot
Yeah.
because there's only so many things you can do as a man
Yeah.
that don't involve your ass.
curls,
Women,
plugs,
yeah.
Without buying new furniture.
But some men,
Gotta go to IKEA and
IKEA and get some.
see how
What
things
Jake
are
Jabs-
shaping up over
Meatballs.
there. Jake Jabs.
Jake Jabs wasn't his original name.
The
Jake Jab in the
you
couch.
know what the
that's
biggest
what-
joke
that's
was?
This guy over
So
here.
as well, exactly right.
Has the tigers and everything.
As a native, like if you got to understand the Jake Jabs bit, but one of the jokes that we used to tell growing up was, "Why do you never bend over in America's furniture warehouse?"
Because Jake Jabs, yeah.
There you go.
We told that joke all the way down in Arvada, too.
Yeah. Well, it was closer to you. Than
I know.
It was to us.
I was actually right on the border of Westminster and Arvada
Yeah.
my whole life.
And
So.
that was the original store right there off of 85th, 86th, 80, whatever it is.
Oh, it's like 100th. It's
Oh,
like
okay.
it's like
Either way.
95th or
Yeah.
something.
But that was the original store.
They don't sponsor this podcast yet, so
Yeah.
Probably
You gotta-
won't now.
you got to sneak into their showroom real quiet, like
Otherwise,
to fuck their couches.
Jake Jabs.
Speaking of deviants,
Oh man, does puberty bring up deviance? What was the most deviant thing you've ever done, Marco?
sexually or
Deviance is deviance.
Deviant,
You define it yourself. We will
like-
judge you.
I feel like puberty wise, like doing like stupid shit as a teen is part of that with like the hormones and poor judgment. I feel like fireworks in Cherry
Fireworks.
Hills, just throwing fireworks in people's cars.
I said
It's
a
probably
grass.
one-
Cars?
Is probably one of the most deviant things I've done as
And I'm like-
a youth.
I set a grass fire in northern Colorado once with fireworks. We went.
Yeah, fireworks and deviants, they go hand in hand.
We were able to stomp it out, but we went to Cheyenne to buy illegal fireworks. Illegal in Colorado, but we brought them back and we couldn't
That's
wait.
where you get them, man.
Yeah.
That's where the deviant starts,
Well,
Cheyenne.
that's scary.
We couldn't wait, so we stopped. We pulled off of I-25 and we set off fireworks and we started a grass fire. And thank Christ we were able to
And
stomp
it's
it out.
before it
It's so
spread to
dry.
the Wyoming border where
Yes.
Yeah,
where
right.
you
Because
got the fireworks.
we would have been in some shit if that thing had gotten out of control. But northern Colorado is often windy. Cheyenne is always windy. And it got away from us for a minute there. And we were scared, me and my friend Steve.
Yeah, as an adult, I feel like that's the worst place to set off
Yeah.
fireworks.
In
Just
front of
all
I-25,
all that
people
dry
driving
grass.
by. Yes, and people driving by were totally like watching us. They could see my license plate. We were not smart about this. We didn't get off on a byway.
Yeah,
We just pulled over and lit off fireworks and had to stomp out a grass fire.
that's crazy.
Thank God we were successful because that could have been some
Yeah.
life-changing shit.
Oh, I bet. I grew up
And
in
that's
upstate,
poor
so I didn't have
judgment.
to worry about the dryness that you
Because
guys
it
do.
rains there,
I
yeah.
think
Yeah.
for me, deviant asshole wise, the one thing that comes up weirdly, I mentioned the girl from summer camp, but when we talked,
Haley Mills, finger blasted in the
yeah,
cabinet. Got it.
yeah, her name was Nicole.
The Sharon, not the Susan.
But
I like him girly.
she was a year older than me, so when we got in contact, she had a car, and at the time, Legacy Ridge Golf Course was just starting to be built. But for us growing up as kids, that was all dirt roads. So we had her drive across the greens, down the sidewalks, and we ended up getting in trouble. Thankfully, she didn't, but they somehow found us. And it might have been because the next day we went up with our dirt bikes and were doing skid marks on the greens. But we
Hershey
destroyed
Highway.
we destroyed that golf course. And we could have easily had been in court and had to pay fines. But because we were juveniles at the time,
The other thing is we grew up with Jackass, so
Yeah.
very good role models.
I already
for
was too old for
deviants.
Jackass. When they
Yeah,
came out, I
me
was like,
too.
what a bunch of jackasses.
Yeah.
Like, they're telling you in the title, why are people doing this at
Yeah.
home?
But you were already like
Not
old enough to
ridiculousness.
like
I know.
make that decision. But we
Exactly.
were growing up as teenagers. We're like, that looks really cool. We could probably be famous if we did this exact same stuff.
Yeah.
I
lived in
kinda-
the country. We didn't have cable. I had to go to my friend's house to get cable.
I didn't have cable either, but the DVDs were everywhere. You could
Yeah.
rent them at the
Oh.
library.
I grew up with Bart Simpson making prank phone calls to Moe's Bar, and I was a little too old for the Jerky Boys when they came along.
oh, that's right, we were.
but we
yeah.
made
we
prank
did
phone
some
calls.
of that too.
That's what we
made,
did.
We made prank phone calls to Brunswick, the bowling alley on 92nd and Wadsworth.
I DJ'd there. That was my first
Oh, yeah?
one.
I
That
took
was-
bowling.
yeah.
I was in a bowling league there for many years.
Sad.
Yeah, we used to call them. We used to call different friends of ours. Nothing spectacular. We pretty much copied Bart Simpson. They never fell for it, as far as we knew. But, that can bring us, I guess, to stage 3 of acne, which
I was
Stage
going to say,
three.
where are we
Again.
at?
We jumped all over. We hit stage 3.
we jumped all
we
over
had-
because
Stage 4,
Deviance.
stage 5.
deviance isn't really in the Tanner scale. But we kind of got sidetracked. But acne is such an important part of
acne.
puberty. And this is where I argue that these are not stages, but they all happen concurrently because I had acne from as far ago as I can remember until about my 29th birthday. And I'll probably get one tomorrow just because
Only one.
You brought it
I've
up.
invoked it.
Yeah.
But acne was the plague of my existence and it could not be stopped. Thank God I wasn't the worst in school, but I sure as shit was noticeable.
Yeah, I wouldn't guess that of your skin. You know how some
Really?
people you can
I'm
tell.
so splotchy and
Oh, see,
fair.
I wouldn't have guessed
Yeah.
it.
I'm very oily.
I'm
Yeah,
oily.
yeah,
That was
but
my
I didn't
issue.
have that
puberty.
problem,
The
weirdly.
forehead.
Yeah.
Like, for,
I have the T.
I have the oily
Yeah,
T
I
zone.
do the T too.
There's
I
part of-
actually, at the age of about 25, I crossed the border from San Diego to Mexico to buy tetracycline because a coworker said, and he was 30-something and had whiteheads, and he said that's the only thing that helped him. So I bought tetracycline from a Mexican pharmacy, and I got caught crossing the border. I had to declare it, and they were asking me, like, what does it do? And I said, it helps with acne, I was told. And like, do you have a prescription for this? I said, no, that's why I'm in Mexico.
That's funny.
And he was like, all right, I'm going to let you through this one time, but don't do it again. And it was just literally like 100 pills, a standard bottle. So I never went back. I never did it again. But I'm like, I guarantee the border guards know what tetracycline is. I'm not the first kid to
Right.
have acne,
Did it
which
work?
was demonstrable on my face as I walked through. And it doesn't make you high. It has no other benefit. I'm pretty sure it pretty much hard on the liver, I think, as I recall.
Oh, jeez.
But I don't think it even helps with the,
That's
the
what I was like,
acne
did it
for
work?
me.
And so for you, like, at what age was this?
Oh, like 25, 23
Okay,
maybe.
so you were a little older.
I was definitely like, I shouldn't still have acne, right?
All right.
But I had it till my late 20s regularly. I mean, whiteheads. I never had blackhead problems,
Whiteheads are the worst.
but I had the
too, though.
whiteheads all the time. And I would get them like in my ear, in my nostril.
Holy shit.
They would be painful,
Yeah.
painful ones. But in junior high and high school, it was just the worst.
I got
And-
lucky I didn't have that. I
You
got the oily.
bitch!
I know.
Oh.
I would get one or two.
Fuck you.
And then I used to get mad if someone wouldn't tell me.
Fuck you and everyone like you, because there were some
I
girls.
had other issues, but it wasn't
No,
that.
there were girls in junior high and high school who remained absolutely stunningly gorgeous no matter
Oh, that
what the
wasn't
fuck
me,
I
though.
was going through. And if you were one of those bitches,
Nope.
Well, also, guys, there's a stigma for wearing makeup, so you can't just cover it up.
No,
There you
not
go.
yet.
See, I remember, like, for me, it was the reason I ask your age is because I remember my junior to senior pictures where my dad and I were out doing things, and I canceled the shoot because it was like, Dad, all I see are like the red. But like, for me, I didn't have a whole lot of whiteheads, but I would have red dots and splotches and. Like before they got there, I would almost want shit to be white so I could pop them and get rid of them. Or Oxy, at that point, Oxy, whatever the fuck, I don't know if there was a
Oh,
bigger
yeah.
name for them, but they would have two different types of like stuff you could put on: the white one or the tan one, which was close to makeup.
the tint.
And
yeah.
and I wanted the tinted one because like I really, and maybe this was the drama club kind of guy in me, but it was definitely a high school kind of thing because I definitely had the oily,
T-zone.
and I
everything.
washed my
Yeah.
face. That was what was frustrating to me
It,
because
it was.
I
it
It's
was
not
so
about the
dirty.
cleansing.
Hormones.
and then
It's
like
not about how
within
clean
two-
you are.
within 2 hours, I wouldn't even sometimes get out of the shower, get ready for school, and by first period, I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh, there was nothing worse than like getting through 6 of your 7 periods and then going to the bathroom and seeing that you had a whitehead
That's
and you don't
what
even
I
know
hated,
how
'cause
long
I
it
would
had
have-
been there.
Yeah.
Especially
'Cause
in the
it wasn't there
nose,
that
like,
morning.
Whatever. I would get them, but I didn't have a problem. But I definitely would hate it because you'd be hanging out with your closest friends, and I'm like, why
And
didn't
no
you
one
fucking tell
fucking
me?
said shit.
I would tell you.
Oh, and I
Just
tried.
like-
I tried everything I could. I even put toothpaste on my.
Oh, I was
on
just
the
going to
zits
ask. I heard
because
toothpaste.
Someone somewhere said that would
Yep.
help. Probably in a fucking movie I watched.
Yep.
Like, I'll try anything. Fucking toothpaste on my face, go to sleep, wake up, more zits. I don't know how it happened. It was a nightmare, and it didn't It didn't stop until I was in my probably late 20s.
Would you chalk that down as being the worst part of puberty?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, 'cause
because
you
it
can't hide
fucked
it.
up my
Yeah.
self-confidence.
Right. You can't hide it.
I mean, I had gained weight in that period too, not from puberty, but because of the fact that I moved and like didn't have any friends anymore and like hated school and the whole teenage bullshit and like the absentee parents and everything else besides puberty, like just I internalized and I
you had a
gained
whole
bunch
different
of weight.
perspective. of,
Yeah, like I could show you my class photo from 7th grade to 8th grade, and you would see that I gained quite a lot of weight in that 1 year. And that wasn't puberty based, that was life based. But that was compounded by the zits, by the acne, by the fact that I was just this insanely girl crazy guy who had no self confidence whatsoever, who girls wouldn't look at. In fact, Eddie Izzard had a funny bit. He's like,
I love Eddie.
he's like, puberty is a sick joke. Paraphrasing, he's like, because you finally discover the beauty of the opposite sex, and you try your best to look good for them, and then God's like, no, you will look worse than you have ever looked in your whole life.
The awkward stage. You're
Yes.
welcome.
And I was the most awkward. I felt like the most awkward kid in the entire world, and it just was just miserable.
I did too.
Yeah, I was boy
Not
crazy
so
I think,
much
since
like-
I was born.
I mean, I felt awkward at times, but I also had a drive that was hard to stop. Like I can remember at one point in junior high, there was this girl, and I went over to her house, rode my bike, and I didn't want to go
I
when my
didn't go to a
dad told
girl's
me
house till
to.
I was 21.
Oh man, I was.
Well,
Shit,
that's not
dude.
true.
This was 13ish,
17,
man, because I hadn't
17.
even hit high school yet.
Even friends? Or
but
Girlfriends?
feel like
Not
I mean
since,
friends.
my
Not
dad.
since-
4 for me.
I didn't have a girlfriend and since Jill, who lived down the street from me when I was like 6. No,
I
I didn't go.
couldn't-
I didn't have my first girlfriend until I was 17.
Oh, I didn't have a boyfriend in high school. I was always the class clown. I was friends with everybody. But I had guy friends that I would go to their houses, hang out with them. They would come to our house. You didn't have...
Nope.
No.
I had no girl.
No, it was
friends.
different for guys with girls. Like we didn't.
First
like,
of all, we don't want to
yeah.
be your friend, and none of those guys you hung out with,
They wanted me?
Wanted
Damn
to be
it! I
your
could have had them.
all of them at once if you'd wanted. You literally dictated
Yeah.
every minute of their lives.
Especially in high school.
every
Yeah.
minute.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's the thing
'Cause
teenage girls
I was
don't
just gonna
understand.
get at this girl wanted me to stay, and she convinced me to stay. So I flattened the tires on my bike. Called my dad, told my dad I got flat tires. I'm gonna walk home. I'll be home later. Well, my dad, working for
Yeah.
the school district, looked up who this girl was, where she lived, and ended up knocking on the fucking door right about the time the condoms probably should have came out. Like he was the first
Came
one.
out or
Like
come on.
Yeah,
or
that's
come
what I was
on,
going to ask.
like put
Okay.
like came out of like the pocket or whatever, like
The wallet, let's
yeah, the
say.
wallet. What I didn't have one, she did, and it was being discussed. And
Okay,
then
she
knock,
had
knock, knock.
She had a condom. That should tell you a lot about her.
Yeah, well, I
My
know this
first
now at
also had
41.
condoms.
But
Condom.
yeah, exactly. Like mom would have said, condom. But my dad came a knocking. Like he was the first cock block in my life.
Grab your trapper. What is it?
My
That's
trapper
also
keeper.
a sign of like
Come on.
what a late bloomer I was. Is mine was prom, and she was inviting me to go back to her house, and her parents weren't there. I was like, no, we're going to play laser tag, right? We ended up playing laser tag till 2 a.m.
She did that
and
for you,
she
man.
ended up being pregnant within, like, the next year.
Laser tag?
And then I didn't realize till, like, 10 years later, I'm like, ew. She wanted to...
Oh, she wanted my sperm. Okay.
My prom date was different.
But also don't have kids right now, so
Yeah.
fine with that.
No, it's a good thing. Trust me.
You know, I have a similar story, but I also chickened out on prom night, and I also think it would have been a sure thing, and it would have been my first time as well. But my first time would come the next year with a girl who also had a stash of condoms in her room.
A stash of condoms.
That does
Wow.
tell
That's
you.
how you know.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
as
but
far as
mine
my-
was at 13, not 17.
Full on, no,
As
full
far as
on
my-
stash. She just has a drawer full of
I was
condoms.
18 when I first had sex, 17 when I first had a girlfriend. But as far as my first cock block, it was her boyfriend. I am not a good person.
funny.
I've not had good times in my life.
Oh, yeah.
I've been the other guy more times than I care to admit. Not because I wanted to be, because I was lied to as well. People think I'm an asshole. I'm a victim too, you know.
How are you gonna know?
I know,
Dun,
right?
dun.
I fucking trust them. Then I'm told that they actually have a boyfriend or even live with one.
Oh,
wow.
Sometimes it's happened more
than once,
more than a
huh?
few times.
I've had
Yeah.
one experience with that.
I don't know
where
what it is.
Had a girlfriend and they had a baby.
See, I'm the kind of guy that, oh, I wish I could meet a guy like you, but not you. So
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
And you're like, I'm like me.
I am all, I'm all
I've
Millhouse.
had that happen before.
Yes, I'm all Millhouse. I don't understand.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'll throw you this bone, but you're not going to be like my boyfriend because I've already got one. But
I still feel bad for the one that had a baby because I didn't know until later, and that's horrible.
who had a baby?
Well, I hooked up with this guy, and he had a girlfriend, and they had a child together.
Oh,
And that's not my style at all. I would never.
It's
would have done
devastating
that.
when they tell you, like, oh, they're so racked with guilt. You almost know what's coming because you've never seen that level of guilt before.
Yeah, and I waited a long time, so I was a little pissed.
We skipped over periods, though. How was your first period, Tam?
Well, luckily I had a sister, so
Ah.
I was really, really, really shy, and Brennan, I have a hard time talking about any of this, so it's kind of funny we're talking about it because
We're
I
4
guess
beers
now that
in.
I'm older, I don't care because I mean, gosh, I'm old enough.
Just
to
think
have
it's for the
plenty of them.
kids. Just think about the kids who
But
don't
when I
have
first,
anyone
I don't
to
remember
tell
the
them.
first time I got it, but I never told my parents until maybe a year after, and I would steal my sister's stuff. And the only reason my mom ever found out is because I got it at high school and I bled through my pants. And I was humiliated. And I had to call my mom to come pick me up. And she was mad because she was like, because she was so hurt I wouldn't tell her. Why wouldn't you tell me this? This is something that parents, I think they think it's like it brings you together. Let's talk about your period. You're a woman now. They have period parties.
Not
for
my
girls.
parents.
They have
I
have
was just
period
gonna say,
fucking parties.
I have a daughter and a son, and there's a few
Yeah,
conversations.
they have parties about that shit, and I was not one of them. So I didn't ever. I mean, I think it's more. I feel bad for girls because you literally
2020.
like
it's
if
like
you
a
have
gender
it, I
reveal.
would have to ask my friend. Like, I'm gonna walk down the hallway, see if there's anything. Do you see anything leaking in my pants? I mean, it's horrible.
I remember just now hearing like stories. I never saw it, but hearing stories of so and so like getting up and leaving French class.
Oh, yeah,
with
you would-
blood on
I
the
would-
back of her pants.
Oh
or
yeah,
something.
and I would always have I
how
learned
that was a big
quickly
joke.
to
It was
always
always
have a
French class,
sweatshirt or
too.
something in my locker so I could always wrap around my waist around that time just in case. Luckily, I was the youngest out of 4, and I could drive pretty much at 16, so I could drive as soon as if anything like that
So you
happened.
could go
But
home in the middle of the day. if
I
you
would just
had
go.
to.
I'm like, I need. But yeah, so I never told my parents, and my mom was so heartbroken that I didn't not
Is
share
this
that
so
news.
weird? Like parents. Of
They
that
want you to
generation
tell
didn't
you
tell
that, and it's a
shit.
beautiful thing.
Was Sora lied
They
about
didn't even
hers.
prepare you.
She wanted it. His daughter wanted it, so she lied to us that she had it, but she really didn't. I'm like, you don't want it. Trust me. And then when she got it, she's like, ew. I'm like, yeah, you don't want it.
Yeah, it was another thing I read about when I was looking up quotes about puberty, trying to find that Eddie Izzard one that I couldn't remember the wording for. And one of them was like, being a woman's great, but the monthly dues is hell.
Yeah.
It's
And
like-
when you're stressed out in life, I mean, you can get it. You can, I mean, I don't know. You get stressed, your body definitely reacts to it. You can have it more times a month, less times a month, because you're fucking stressed, and it doesn't
that
matter
makes
how old
acne
you are.
seem like nothing in comparison because I get stress acne.
Oh,
but I would
absolutely.
not want a stress period.
It does suck. And then you can go on birth control that takes away your period, but I don't think that's healthy. Because I don't want anything hormonal in my body that doesn't give you a natural flush. So I know that sounds gross,
Well,
but
men
I'm just
don't have
like,
a natural flush. I mean, are you any worse off than us?
Unless you
There
find
you-
a couch, you go to Jake Jabs.
See?
for women, it would be a hand or a shower handle.
Oh, we didn't get to your masterpiece. Jeez.
I don't know what
Skipped
that
right over
means.
you.
The spotlight is
I
on
don't know. When
Tam
did you
now.
discover yourself? Like the sexual urge. How about just the urge to have sex?
I think the urge was more wanting to watch stuff. So
Interesting.
I didn't have anything to fuck, I guess, like a couch or something. I guess I had fingers, but I didn't know that at
Do you
that
know
age.
how to use the fingers? Or
Now I do.
I mean, that's not an innate kind of ability.
But
That's something
as a
you
young
learn.
girl at 12 or 13 or whenever but it was more like I would try to watch R-rated movies and I would rewind kissing scenes or love scenes. Like I would feel
Such a girl.
tingly and feel like it made me feel good. So I'd rewind
Did
stuff.
you ever slide down the banister?
I didn't have a banister.
Yeah,
I've
horses.
heard, because I've heard.
But I don't know if I want to share that though. There's other ways.
Pillows, stuffed animals.
Even legs close together,
Oh yeah, doing that whole like
something.
the leg
Well,
thing.
of course I'm cross-legged and rocking, but it's not that
I
way right
also
now. I
remember
swear.
that from 8th grade.
But yeah, definitely. There's definitely things to do when you're younger, but the learning, I think it was just rewinding stuff and just watching it and like this makes me feel different, and I would rewatch it and rewatch it. Yep. Not that my parents would listen to me. I'm like, I'm not going to say what else I used to do.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm just
Trust
trying
me,
to.
everyone we're talking about ain't listening.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to get to like.
How do you record a podcast on cassette? That's what the parents
We're
are
now
trying to-
available on 8-track.
I was just going to say A-track.
right now.
My parents was
Shit,
an
as there's a
A-track.
turntable right there, we might as well go vinyl.
I think we've bled onto the second 8-track now.
Horseback
Yeah,
riding.
We're
People lose their cherry
We're
there.
almost an hour and
Yeah,
a
I
half
remember
in.
as a kid watching things like Sally Jesse and Ricky Lake and that
Oh.
shit.
They
and
say they could it did not
They would
happen
have-
to me, but
well,
I mean, I was a huge horseback
yeah.
rider, so it never, because
They
when
would-
I first did, there was no doubt that was my first time.
I distinctly remember one lady saying, like, I would slide down the banister continuously. Like, I had no idea that
Yeah.
I was masturbating, but I just knew that
It
it
felt
felt good. So I would slide down the banister. I'd run up
Mm-hmm.
the stairs and I'd slide down the banister again. And this was as a child, like, kind of discovering herself. And, like okay, that's how men, it's fucking obvious what needs to be done, you know? It happens whether you want it to or not.
and that
you
is
deal
true.
with
I
it.
just didn't have a banister.
Okay. But you felt this kind of need.
Need for a
Yes.
banister.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's other objects that were found.
Now, does it start completely external, or when do you graduate to like insertion?
Vegetable crisper.
Actually,
I would
probably-
be-
well.
I'm trying to think as a woman, I would be kind of scared of that as a young woman until somebody
Yeah,
told
I
me
would
that it's
say-
okay.
Yeah.
Before I moved out of the house, because I was very shy, and even with being married, I'm very like, we're at my parents' house, don't hey.
Oh,
I'm
that's
very
so hot
respectful in
though.
a little bit.
It's so hot that
but
it's so hot that you regret like you don't like that.
jetted tubs come in handy when you're younger and you live at home.
Do you end up taking like 15-minute showers? Is that a sign? Because
It was more of a tub
That is a
it
sign.
was a tub.
because we had.
Did you not have
jets.
the detachable
We didn't
shower
have
head?
that. We had
Okay.
a natural jetted tub so that you could turn it on and it
So
jetted out.
suddenly Tammy wants to take a bath every night.
I loved baths, but I would read a lot, maybe before or after. And then I explored to other objects when it was probably more college and college girls talking about. That's when you got into the objects and insertion was older.
And that was kind of a guided thing, or did you just like, I think it's okay to do this?
It was I don't know. Did
I mean,
anyone
what's-
dry hump as a kid?
Oh yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
that
We
was
did
almost
that.
all we could do.
That
In
was what he was
college,
doing
that
with
was
the
probably
couch.
mostly
Yep.
just because I
Yeah.
was a late, like I wanted to.
For me, it was a pillow.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mine was Jeremy.
Wait,
Fuck
a
you,
dude?
Jeremy.
Yeah. A hippie guy that didn't go to college, but he was friends with a guy I went to college with. So he was my dry hump guy.
That was
friend.
the college experience for me as a late bloomer.
Just dry humping Jeremy.
Yeah.
That's it. Just
Yeah, Jeremy.
Wow, you knew
Jeremy,
great hair.
Jeremy specifically. You got to get his business card.
me and Jeremy and Libby Hall. That's it. That was just it was us. Lock the door. Turn on the red lights.
And then came the sex parties and the dildos and all that kind of stuff.
Sex parties.
What?
Wait a minute. This is a common thing with women.
Yeah.
Tell
Those
me
are
everything.
sex parties are you get to drink.
You sound like, yeah.
I'm a little uncomfortable. We've
Oh,
all
I
been
thought you were
drinking
just
and
talking
there's-
about like the Tupperware parties. where
It
they-
kind of
Well,
is.
that's
Where
what
they-
I'm like,
you get
wait,
a catalog
wait,
just the
I was
same.
just going to say, you might need to make this a little more clear. When you say sex parties, you're
Oh.
dropping it off as like people are fucking
Oh, no,
everywhere.
no.
I'm imagining a
Hands
Those
are
are
on the whole
sex
time.
Those are
toy
different. Those are
parties.
different sex
It's
parties.
called a slumber party mostly.
Yeah, there you go.
So
Make it
you
a little bit
go
more
with
clear, 'cause
girls, you drink,
you just
you
made
have
it sound
a good
like
time.
fucking orgies are abound.
No orgies. We might talk about orgies, but no orgies. And then someone hosts and shows like a Tupperware. They might bring out certain toys and show what they do, or don't act like you don't get the benefit of it. There's certain lotions and heating things and coolants that help certain things on males.
How do they demonstrate exactly?
Well, you can, because we're very sensitive in certain areas of our
I feel
body.
like it's
so
not
you could
called
put
a sex party.
heating lube right here, and so
Right
we
here
can
in your
kind of
crotch,
get what it would
yeah.
feel
No one
like
can
to
see
a
what
guy.
you're pointing at.
Yeah.
We can
Nobody
taste
knows.
it there. And
Nobody
then
knows what you're pointing at, sniffing, licking.
my wrist, the inside.
Yoga is
very-
good. That's all I can say.
Inside of your thigh.
How
Just
do-
rub it right there and then lick it off.
When do these happen and where and how do you get invited to one?
Craigslist,
exactly.
probably.
No, I'm talking about
Actually,
like,
it's usually through a friend. Somehow you just do. I don't
and
know.
who is
I don't
selling
know.
this? Is this the
The very
Avon
first
lady?
party
It's
I
another
actually been invited
MLM,
to
yeah.
is in
It's kind of
Colorado.
like an Avon lady.
They're gonna
but-
be
It is.
I
They're
have
gonna be
never heard of this in
Really?
my life.
I mean, and they'll bring certain dildos, and some of them do like do like little circles.
Yeah,
is
we,
it-
got-
Little
we got
tickle on
the
the clit.
yeah. I understand dildos.
It's gonna be the next corporate sponsor of your local soccer.
But they
team.
also bring out
Slumber parties. That
they
would be
bring
so
out little
awesome.
cock rings that also help out the
little
girl.
cock rings.
Well, they're not little,
Little?
but there's so many
Well,
toys
yeah.
that
How does a
bring
cock
to,
ring help out the girl?
because they
They have
also have a
vibrators
little
on 'em.
thing
It's ribbed for your pleasure.
that have a little clip play, and you can turn it on, and it has a little
Vibrator.
yeah. So it wraps around the guy's penis and balls. You got two little rings, and then you got a little. I don't know what you'd call it, but a little. A
Protuberance.
little hello piece
A little
that like
protuberance?
vibrates on the girl.
That's just a microcosm of the advancement of human technology. It's like the battery that goes in there. Somebody had to engineer that.
I'm just
All
saying.
for this little
I think
vibrating,
that's one of my favorite
vibrating
toys,
silicone.
Actually, I
I'm
love
just
that
pointing
one.
out that we have not yet been to Mars.
But we can
we
orgasm
can-
in
yeah.
multiple ways.
We can help women eliminate us like nobody's business, man.
Well, I like that. That's why I like that toy, because the only insertion is your partner, and then you just have some pleasure, enjoyment that enhances it. So it's
Uh-huh.
not like a dildo taking place of anything.
When was your first lesbian experience? It must have been at one of these parties.
Nope. I haven't really had a whole lot of lesbian experience.
A whole
I
lot.
have-
Whole lot.
Well, I'm just asking about your first.
I was dating a musician.
What did she
It was
play?
only kissing another girl. It wasn't anything more.
Yeah, they say all women are partially lesbian.
I think we appreciate beauty, and I think the attractive. It's attractive to kiss another sensual lips. For me, it's not so much muffin it or fingering or doing anything.
And men don't have sensual lips.
Not like women,
I agree.
but I've only kissed 2 women.
Same.
Late bloomers. I've kissed at least twice that amount.
At least 4.
Well, let's define our terms, gentlemen. Women, is that naturally born, or is there any transitional phase allowed?
Like Selma Hayek. If she came up and wanted to kiss me, I'd be
well,
all about
I'd
it.
kiss
Yeah,
Salma Hayek too.
that's
Only
low
Brendan was there. I
that's
mean, these
low-hanging
people were
fruit.
way before I met Brendan.
Yeah.
Selma Hayek was? Yeah,
Not
she
one.
was.
I didn't kiss her.
Anybody would kiss Selma Hayek. That's not a big deal. What about the wrestler China?
No.
Rest in peace.
I know. It's just
Oh,
like,
is she dead?
She
Ah,
did.
shit. She's
She
the
was
dead
a
one.
huge. She was one of Howard Stern's whack pack.
I don't know any.
Was Matt just trying to find an androgynous woman?
Not androgynous. She was just Amazonian.
She was on
Well,
the
like, she's
show.
not Salma Hayek.
She is not Salma
She's
Hayek.
not luscious.
They actually had Robin Quivers look to make sure she had a pussy. Because Howard was so thinking she had a penis.
That's how you know you're straight is if
I
you're
think that
into
was-
all types of women.
I think that was Howard flexing his authority.
No. Robin wouldn't do it unless
Well,
she was curious.
this dog doesn't have a problem with his balls getting kicked. Boing, boing, boing.
We can
Anyway.
talk about sexual fetishes in another episode.
Right? Yeah, that's a whole
I
new
mean-
episode right there.
That pretty much takes us to step 5 is
I was-
facial hair for men and
I love face hair.
reproductive organs and genitals are fully developed for women. That's also not that physical.
Well,
I couldn't grow, as we
That's
talked
what
about,
I'm
I couldn't
saying.
grow
Well, and that's
facial
what I
hair.
Like, I
like
think
about
we
guys.
covered
Like, I
it.
don't.
process.
I like the beard,
And
but
a
I like the
concurrent
hair.
one. It's not like, oh, you're done with acne, onto the beard. Nope. It's peach fuzz and acne for at least a decade
yeah,
for me.
Yep, easily.
I
Holy
like no
shit.
hair, little hair. That's what I love about guys. You can change it up.
Yeah. And I have no
Hit that
memory
button.
of armpit hair. I have no memory of my first deodorant.
I
I
do
don't know
remember
when that
deodorant,
happened.
and I do remember my first pube because I showed it to my cousin.
Like you plucked it
I
or
didn't
you
pluck it.
pulled
she
your
was
pants
over.
down.
I'm like, look, I got one.
That's kind that's kind of like
That's
Wayne's
why
World.
girls are different
We're
from
sisters
guys.
practically. Hey.
I think that's like, isn't that Wayne's World where Garth is like,
Yes.
was it?
Yeah, no, he did. I remember him looking and being like, oh.
I also
He's
thought it
like-
was funny, so I was like, look, I got one. Finally.
so far my pubes are the last thing to go gray on me.
Thank God for that.
Thank God, yeah,
Um,
because I
I
got
do
some shopping to
remember,
do.
I think I was a junior when I first started
dye
trying
it.
to grow a goatee. And I remember getting laughed at behind my back by my
Oh.
ex-girlfriend.
My sister laughed at me in my face because of my peach fuzz beard when I was about 17 or 16.
Yeah, I think I had like 7 hairs on my chin.
Yeah.
I used to
Which are
laugh
probably
at
the
my
ones
brother,
that are
I
white
have
now.
to say.
I would shave every day just in case that shaving made it come in thicker.
Oh yeah, I
I
did
think
too.
that's a-
I would shave up, and in the places I shaved up, doesn't matter. In fact,
Yeah.
back to acne, there was the worst zit I ever fucking had was right about here, which like doesn't do anything for people who are listening. So it was in between the mustache and goatee on the cheek, so to speak.
Yeah.
And it was under the skin, and it was growing to the point where it fucking hurt. And I remember, like, every time I would get like borderline whitehead, I would push it, to pop the fucking zit, right?
And then hydrogen peroxide.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or even the I mentioned it earlier, which I can't.
Oxy.
Yes,
or
Oxy,
Clearasil.
you know,
all that
Clearasil,
stuff.
yeah.
Nothing worked, by the way. It's
No,
all
they
bullshit.
didn't. They were all just a waste of money.
Well, that
but
new
I took
one.
a fucking wrench, dude. This was
Jesus.
like so bad. I couldn't pop it with my fingers. It was
Do you sterilize before you take a wrench?
not when I was 13. No,
No.
I didn't.
He's not a mechanic. What are you?
You're
trying
going to
Yeah,
live
I didn't-
forever.
Back in the day, if I had
No.
a zit, and I would take a needle and I would sterilize it
no,
to try to.
I didn't even
No?
With
think
fire?
of that shit. No, I
Or
just.
alcohol.
That's more a
Totally.
girl thing.
Yeah,
As-
exactly.
A girl actually taught me how to do that when I went to the dermatologist, and she's like, if you get the little needle,
Yeah.
you sterilize it, and then you just throw it away, and that's how you
Yeah, I
pop
would
it.
take a pen. I would take a lighter.
I was like, you just don't pop it with your fingers.
No,
and
see,
like,
No.
and that was my mentality of like, I gotta pop this fucker, and it was so far below my skin normally that I couldn't do it with my hands. So I grabbed a wrench, and I still couldn't. And like, it took probably about 2 days, And it's a spot now where I still can't grow hair, and I think I fucking scarred that
You
shit.
scarred it.
Yes.
And that's where the pin comes in handy. And I think girls, you don't want to make it where you're trying to get it without the least kind of marking. So
Oh yeah.
that's, I think,
There
where
were
maybe our
kids-
head is like, I don't want to make it
That's
look
also
worse.
why I'm still going through puberty right now. Because, like, I get breakouts, and then it, like, dies down, and then hair starts growing there. I'm like, okay. This goatee is starting to fill in. Okay.
There you go.
All of a
There's
sudden
your
it turns to
Pacific
Once
red
I'm
and
50.
pus.
Game over. Game over for y'all.
You got a
Yeah.
long ways to go.
There were kids in my high school, and I'm thinking specifically of one guy, poor guy, but craters and scars from acne as a
Oh,
teenager.
He was like Seal?
Still suffering from acne
I
and
think
had
his was
scars
an
from it.
accident.
I know, but I'm just
Still-
saying visually.
Yeah.
But I mean that didn't come from popping it wrong, did it? That just happens
So
from
many,
severe
yeah, scarred.
acne. I hope he grew
But
out
also,
of it.
he
and it-
pulled Heidi Klum, so first
Right,
world
right.
problems,
Well,
whatever.
yeah.
A close
he
friend of
had
mine
other
really bad
skills.
acne.
But until you started talking,
He
Several
had other
other
pieces of
skills.
equipment.
until you started talking, Brendan, I forgot all about shaving off a zit and the blood
Uh-huh.
and the
Shaving,
pus.
is it?
Shaving a zit and the blood and pus that would pour out of that, and
Oh,
going to
really?
school with toilet
toilet
paper stuck to my face that
Yep.
I'd forget to take off,
Yeah.
and pretending I'd nicked myself shaving when I really just shaved off a white head. Oh God, puberty sucks.
It really does.
God bless us
It
all
was
for
almost
getting
like
through
you
it.
spent time on the way to school figuring out your excuse. Or
It's-
maybe that was just me.
But then you
It's-
had
yeah.
the few women or girls and guys that you almost felt like, and everyone went through puberty.
Oh, the
But they didn't
bitches.
seem to.
Yes, those motherfuckers that stayed gorgeous, like
yeah, 'cause
everyone
some of
from.
my girl,
everyone
high
from
schools, I'm like,
90210.
You never looked bad. What happened?
I mean, I know that
Well,
the
they
cast
had
of
a lot of
90210 were like 28, but still, that is not an accurate interpretation of most high school kids.
No, I look at Saved by the Bell.
Even them. I mean,
well, yeah, no, for real.
yeah.
I feel like everyone has a window of attractiveness. So I take some like sick pleasure at people that were
Sick pleasure.
attractive in high school, and now they're just complete
Yes.
like
Shit.
dogs.
If you were the shit in high
That's
school, you are
normal,
a
'cause I
shit
do
in
that.
real life.
I did not look good in my senior year. That's when I quit sports. I gained a lot of weight, and I've worked hard lately. And I go back. To
And it's
some
been
of
a
the girls,
concept for
and then I'm
hundreds
like,
of years because
Yep.
ugly duckling is a real,
Yep.
it's a real thing.
It is. I
Damn's a
even
motherfucking swan. Just
I even tried to check the Bible to see, because the Bible can be so horrible, to see if there was any mention of puberty being any kind of punishment from God. And even the Bible is sympathetic to the shit you go through as a kid turning into an adult. It is just timeless in its bullshit. And God bless us for all getting through it, and pray for the kids of today to get
Yeah.
through it
and
too.
now there's so much like it's all on.
Oh, and now the
video.
social bullying and
Yeah.
all that shit.
oh, you.
It was
Fuck
hard
those
enough for
kids.
us,
That's
and
like
now it's
another
all-
layer
Oh.
of the fucking cake of hell.
If I had to deal with those assholes in school, outside of school, I might have fucking offed myself. I might not have made it. And I say that in sincerity. I might not have survived high school if we had social media bullying.
I think I don't think I would have offed myself, but I would have definitely been more aggro. Like there would have been more fights. There would have been. I think I probably would have been a different guy because I was pretty passive and I kind of let a lot of things fly. But I look at like what Sora's grown up with, what my son Marcus has grown up with, and even just what's put on the news. Like it's bad on us because like we're the parents of these generations. What did we teach our kids to be fucking bullies like this?
Yeah.
And it's
When we
it's
let them
not-
bully
it's-
us.
Well, right, and it's not. It's just I don't know. It's isn't
Kids
the
that
direction
can
we want
bully-
this podcast to go. but
When kids bully their parents, they feel like they can bully everyone. And
yeah, they have free range of anything.
again, going back to Sally, Jesse, and Ricky Lake, and that shit was happening when I was a kid.
Oh, Ricky
Parents-
Lake. That's
Parents afraid of their kids was a bad sign in the 90s, and it is
That's true. I
come
forgot
those
about
chickens have
that.
come home to roost, and now those motherfuckers have kids, And
Yeah.
they're the worst pieces of shit in the world.
Yeah, they're the ones that are voting for the. Never mind.
They're the ones who say on Facebook, kill yourself, you're ugly.
Yeah.
And it happens. It's just a fucking sickness. I've been watching Cobra Kai, and the entire premise starts off with cyberbullying. Fucking awesome show, by the way. That's pretty much it for what I had for puberty.
All right, so we've hit all the stages.
Yeah, I mean, stage 5
All
was
right.
I think we're all
it.
still going through something.
Well, we are. I mean, and that's part of growing up, and that's part of life. So if there's anything that we kind of want to wrap this up on before we spin the bottle for the next episode, what would be the one moment that like says puberty to you? Like, like what do you this for this whole show, this was based on your son, and he's coming into puberty, and we didn't even touch the voice cracks and stuff, but
Yeah.
what are the if there's one message you could tell Aiden right now, like, hey, look, puberty is
We all go through it. Everybody's going to go through everyone around you's going to go through it. Everyone below you, above you, we've all been through it. You'll get through it. And try to be a human being while you do it. Because it's hard for everyone, including the people who live with you. Because you change to us too,
Yeah, that's true. That's a good
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. It's a tough time, but we're going to get through it. And I would say my parents didn't tell me anything about it.
yeah.
I am not going to continue that cycle. I don't know what my parents' situation was, but I can guarantee it. Well, I can guess it was probably not good. I'm breaking the cycle. Like, I'm here for
Conversation and
everything.
That's why I raised
I have
the question.
I have no pride. I have no ego. I will tell you the most embarrassing things that ever happened to me, just to get you through it, because it
That's
happens to us
awesome.
all.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Marco?
yeah.
I would say probably losing your virginity. As Matt kind of said, the definition of puberty is your sexual awakening. So I would probably say pinpoint that's like the one moment. Biologically, it's not like
That's your Everest?
it's not like concluding puberty, but I feel like that's kind of like the one moment where you feel like you've kind of developed into an adult, and everyone's on their own timeline too, so maybe it kind of brings back taking back your own control of the situation. That's probably all I got.
Okay. Tam?
For the girls out there.
Oh, the girls. Oh, jeez. It's so different for everyone, like you said. We've all shared different stories, and we all experience different things. I don't have kids of my own, so I don't know.
There are some
But I
cultures that
would.
would exclude, like the girls would be sent off into the woods during their period
Right.
and would not be a part of society. I mean, that's the most fucked up thing I can think
Yeah.
of.
Well, the one thing I wish I was different. I was so shy, and I was in. And the weird thing is, like, my parents were different because my mom wanted me to come to her, and they did talk about this kind of stuff, but I was so shy and embarrassed about it, and I don't even know why. So, I wish that women or girls shouldn't be embarrassed, and they should go to their parents and talk about it, especially when they're open to it, because it would have made it better for me. Like, the experience of having it in school and calling my mom was horrifying. And if she already knew what I was going through, it wouldn't have been so bad. So I'd really just recommend girls, and if they can't go to their parents, then go to a friend, cousin, somebody that they can talk to or feel comfortable about it. Because it is kind of scary, and you think it's gross and it's embarrassing, but we all go through it. There's nothing we can do. It's life.
Yeah, before Aiden was even born, I was told by some Lamaze teacher, whatever it was, teacher, that you are his first teacher. You'll always be his most important teacher. I have taken that very seriously.
Yeah.
And it doesn't stop just because he's in school. You
Yeah.
know? If he can't trust me, who can he trust? So,
And
Anyone, you can reach out.
on that note, that's where I was going to say, I think I went wrong. I've got 2 kids. One's 20, one's 19 almost. We never had conversations. And I know that they've done things like, they sort of. I posted teaching her to drive stick, and I had some friends be like, "Yo, she's been driving stick for a year or two."
Fuck your friends.
And it was
first of
like,
all.
"Yo, yeah, I get
And then
it."
you told her.
And then I told her that, and she's like, "That's fucked up, but it's also kind of true." And I'm like, "Yeah, I didn't really." Thanks. Now, what fucking kind of conversation are we supposed to have?
That makes
Like,
me
you
feel
know,
better because I suck at driving stick. I was like, how is she so good at this?
She's had more practice
She's
than
very
I'm willing
open.
to. Like, yeah,
Your
and-
daughter's always been very good at conversation. If she can't go to you, she's gone to her mom, and she's actually gone to me for some of this stuff. I've actually
Well, and
helped
could-
with some of that,
yeah.
trying to keep you out of it a little bit.
My relationship with my daughter is different than it is
So
with
she's
my
a good
son. And she
daughter.
could always she could always go to me when it comes to stuff,
Right.
even though she may be a little intimidated, scared, or it may not be the right conversation. My son, on the other hand, it's a whole different story, and this isn't the time or place for that. But my dad didn't have conversations with me. My mom tried and epically failed. And I think that like my one takeaway from puberty is even at 41, there's still parts of me that I'm still discovering. And it's always growing. It's always a part of us. It's who we are. Like understanding and acknowledging your appetite for the other person is, and that's where it starts. Puberty is where it starts. Like you, whether you're gay or not, like that's where you start to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And it may take you a month, 2 months, or 10 years or even longer to understand where your place is when it comes to puberty and sexuality. So like Marco said, there's no timeline. It just happens, and answers and things will come to you even if people don't. And one of the best things that my dad ever told me, and I was struggling in relationships, was every day you learn a little bit more about yourself and a little bit more about who you want to be with. And that's kind of the message that kind of started getting me through the rough times. It was like, okay, it's still a little bit about me and the awareness of who I want to have in my life. And sometimes puberty and sexuality has something to do with that, and sometimes it doesn't. But on that note, final thoughts, or shall we spin
think
that
we should
bottle?
spin that bottle. Spin the bottle for the next topic. Next week will be chosen by Brendan.
Oh fuck. I've been battling with this one for the last few days because it's like, okay, either I go jobs or I go music, and I think I have to go music here because I'm so musically driven, and a lot of my past has been partly music. So what I would like to have us think about is all-time favorite album. And when I say album, I mean like track 1 through 10, 1 through 12, 1 through whatever. You're not skipping that shit unless you have an absolute good reason. And then why is it still your favorite album? So I would like to know what favorite album there is out there for you guys, as well as if there are some influential moments or songs that kind of maybe, I mean, we talked about puberty. Puberty is dark too. We didn't even touch the dark parts of puberty.
Concerts.
Right. Concerts, like moments that, like, if it weren't for music, I wouldn't be, or I now see. So let's go a little musically inclined next time around.
Okay.
All right.
Music.
Till next time.
That's awesome.
Cheers.
Cheers.